My name is Patricia Wersinger. I come from France and I live in New York. This is a little presentation of my paintings. I paint about my life, my circumstances, and what I believe in. Okay, this painting is called Family Secrets. And I was interested in this painting in creating a sort of phantasmagoric atmosphere, like a dream-like scape, as in an expressionist film from the 1920s. And you have that sort of background that's full of mystery and hauntedness. This painting is called Sympathy, and it's about two magical beings who meet and fall in love, and it's about all the the dreams and energy and ideas you get when you meet someone and you click. So these are just little beings from the cosmos who meet, and they're very happy, they have a conversation, and look at all the detailed contrasting imagery around. These are all the positive elements of that meeting. Every little bubble is different. So there's definitely a lot to say for the sympathy of souls. This is my eeriest painting. I think that's also my sexiest painting. I think it's all about the otherness of sex. When you penetrate that other world of emotional force, you are in a different zone where everything that you are merges. Your past, your present, your future, and this eerie cat-like figure or bird, this is the dream of that moment that has been painted here. As all my paintings, the feminine force and the feminine sexuality is extremely expressive, but maybe more in this painting, and the darkness of being possessed and obsessed. This is another painting in that expressionist, realistic style I like, but it's not really realism, it's stylized representation of a real scene. And again, it's about women and women trapped in a psychological cage and unable to release what's inside of them because the environment is not proficient for that. So they all are caught in their dreams behind this sort of bleak urban landscape. This is Times Square, but it's also actually a vintage Times Square picture. And the cabs and the agitation of that place is what I was trying to capture. This is based on myself when I was maybe like 18, and because when I was a teenage girl I was very imaginative, so I wanted to capture how I felt then. I had all these things coming out of my head I didn't understand, and it felt like a swarm of butterflies or bees. This painting is called Salome. You know, that was the woman in the Middle East, in the Bible, who asked for the head of St. John the Baptist to be presented to her on a tray. But here actually he's already a skull, and she's having Chinese food from his skull. She's eating his eyes, and in the background is the next victim. So this is a bit my representation of a vamp, you know, who seems all sweet and honey on the outside, but who has a deadly intent in the inside. This is called Afternoon Delight, and it's based on Alice in Wonderland, I think. There's a lot of recurrent images of the tail in my art because I think it's such an interesting story, and it's basically showing Alice as a mother with her 2 daughters, and somehow she's caught in her own vision, and these are the things she imagines. So again, it's about being in another dimension of being, where you're connected to the deepest resources of nature and the natural environment, imagination, dreams, the past, the future, the present. There's no difference. So it's an alternative to the way we divide our world. This is another painting inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and I was trying to capture the weirdness of that tail and the sort of incongruousness of it, which really appeals to me because I love to mix things that don't seem to have a logical connection and yet somehow really fit together. This is all about, you know, releasing the entrapment we live in this world where everything has to make sense and to be according to a certain rigid format. So I like to create those whimsical images of nonsense, like she's holding the pig, which is actually, in the story, is an image, but it's not so well known. And here the rabbit, he's cutting the edges of the leaves. And I added this little ram and those other creatures. And this creature is starting to wonder what the world is really about. Where are we heading? What is this nonsense we live in? And the back is all this hinterland again of wild imagination, wild dreams, this whole potential that is unexplored in human consciousness. This is called the Tree of Life, and it's one in a series of paintings where I explore the incredible fecund liveliness in trees and plants and the natural environment in general. And in ancient religions before Judeo-Christianity, nature was sacred, and also nature was full of wonder and potential. It was God, that was God. And I'm trying to represent this in this sort of psychedelic, full of color, full of shape, full of infinite combinations of possibilities in pattern and direction of growth. And there are little creatures, and these are also part of, these are humanity, and this is how, by being in tune to the potential of the resources of nature, we stay alive and we stay true to our nature. This painting is called The Wanderer, and it's about, you know, being in the world and feeling that everything is like a film that goes by in front of your eyes, and you're just like a wanderer going from one scene to another. And this woman has, her heart is bleeding, something happened to her, and so maybe that's why she's stuck in that pose. She has to figure out what her next move is. It's kind of a recurrent theme in my art. It's all about those sort of adolescent, young adult women, because it reminds me of how I dealt with issues in my own life. So this painting is called Woman in the Water. It's a bit like Ophelia when she drowned herself. So what I represent is again this sort of poetic world where young women kill themselves by drowning because of love. It's all this iconography that today seems a little bit silly, but it actually has still resonances. And so the water, the dreams, the sky. So is she dead, or is she really starting to live? She's again in a transition zone. This painting is called Symposium, and it's based on one of the dialogues of Plato, and it's about love and also about culture and civilization, like the one I mentioned before. So again, you have those refined women playing piano and the lute and all that. You have a philosopher here, you have a woman who dreams, and you have another figure, she's like in a Greek chorus. And it's all about the old world juxtaposed to the world. These are the profiteers, these are the schemers who profit. And these are just the lost souls of the ancient world in our modern world. And the bird here is dead. And you know that birds symbolize the imaginary. And she's this sort of odd little girl who is full of whimsy. And she talks to birds, she talks to nature, she talks to butterflies. Again, you have this expanded vision of the sky, the eternity, the huge moon, which inspires the women. And so this contrast between eternity, moment, nature, civilization, and again the disappearing world of Western values, which is disappearing, which is being engulfed. It's called Family Secrets 2. So it's about a family gathering, and there's an incredible syncrety, an incredible chemistry between all these people in the family. But at the same time, there's a strange feeling of estrangement because they seem connected, but they're actually disconnected because they have all done something to the other. Another painting about the lusciousness of nature. It's called Luscious, and it's about the richness, the endless possibilities that exist in our nature and in the world around us. And even though nature has some dangerous aspects, it also has some extremely life-lasting possibilities. It's the affirmation of life, of the best that is in us and in nature. It's called Lusciousness of Nature, and it's very luscious, and it's about the prodigality of the green world, and it's about women as sacred beings and symbols of fertility and and eternal life and rejuvenation and exploration and constant recreation and transformation and metamorphosis. So everything is constantly shifting, evolving, muting into something else. There's a sense of constant growth and nothing lasting, nothing being fixed. Because fear is what makes us want to fix things. But if you're not afraid, if you just let things be, everything just moves around and flies, connects, and creates something new constantly. This painting is called Flying By, and it's about sometimes those epiphanic moments you have where you feel that even though it's just a moment, it touches a depth where everything seems to connect, and you have a sense of mechanical time but also of eternal time. So here you have like one moment opening up like a flower, and you have all these different images which are all possibilities in the moment. If you're interested to see more, you can check me online. Thank you very much.